ओम मानी पद्मे ओम। ओम मानी पद्मे ओम। Sunday's second half would be open to everybody. Morning would be master's course.
And Friday.
Friday would be open
So 10 to 2 होगा
master's course. Yeah.
So Udiji, Wednesday and Sunday is half day. 10 to 2. हाँ और Sunday को half day. 10 to 2.
Can you go out and listen to the audio? ओम मानी पद्मे ओम। 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 ओम मानी पद्मे ओम।
this one is like the more difficult to diffuse. Okay, okay. Kaveri, you've done psychology, Buddhist psychology retreat, no? I have no idea. This is I was in the front of the first seat, but this is very
We'll make prostrations together, two prostrations. Okay, 20, let's see, all of us can come to light lamps. So as we keep in mind that as we light the lamps, visualize that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are in front of us, and then that each one of us, our parents, all the family members, including children, everyone is going through the pains, the fears, anxiety, and so forth, all because of the mental departments. And so this light, which is symbolic, this light, imagine it's the light of the wisdom, light of compassion, which once thrived at such a great height and expand the vastness in the once existent erstwhile Nalanda University. So imagine that we are rekindling this light of wisdom, light of compassion, which once flourished in the erstwhile Nalanda University from the 1st century AD till 3rd century AD. So we are rekindling this, and we are very fortunate that as a very auspicious gesture, His Holiness the Dalai Lama already launched this program. So imagine that everyone is joining us and to rekindle this light of wisdom and compassion. Okay, with that in mind, let's come up to light lamps.
I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered misery's gloom. With folded hands, please. It's okay. Maybe they can come this side. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered misery's gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddha to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered misery. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in mysteries gloom.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the religions and teachings. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the religions and teachings. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the religions and teachings.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of
Folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma, for all bewildered mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma, for all bewildered mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma, for all bewildered mysteries gloom. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma, for all bewildered mysteries gloom. Hands, I beseech the Buddhas.
Okay, is there anyone who did not like lamp? Please come up. Who did not like lamp? Come. Anyone who did not like lamp? With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered religions and teachings. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered religions and teachings. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered religions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered religions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all for all the religions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all the religions. Okay, thank you. Please take your seats.
This also for live streaming.
Tumala, do you remember the Nalanda Master's prayers? Nalanda Master's prayers. Not here?
Not here. Up on the Yatathina one.
It's here?
I don't think so, Vishwa. Is the normal one.
Okay, this matter. Okay. Welcome all of you here for the opening class of a master's course in Nalanda Buddhist Studies. It is really a great event. Everywhere there's a discussion on Nalanda. Nalanda University, Nalanda Studies, Nalanda Masters, and so forth. Now, if we are to really remember the Nalanda, it is wise to remember the way the wise noble beings remember that. For example, say Aranagarjuna, revered as the second Buddha. Whenever he makes praises to the Buddha Shakyamuni, he praised the Buddha Shakyamuni for the two reasons, with the 2 points. One is the infinite compassion which the Buddha Shakyamuni displayed, and the other, infinite wisdom, the knowledge of the interdependency, knowledge of the wisdom of emptiness. So with the wisdom on the one hand and the unconditional love for others, number 2, combined together, we see that individual person becomes happier, and you see the environment becomes more harmonious and happier, and the whole world can be much happier. So the wisest way by which to remember the Nalanda is through the legacies in terms of the wisdom and in terms of the cultivation of the unconditional love for all beings. So this, if we do, this is the greatest service to the Buddha Shakyamuni, the greatest service to all the Nalanda masters, and the greatest service to the Buddha Dharma, and the greatest service to the humanity and for all the sentient beings. So with that in mind, what we're doing today, if I could remember so well, during the launch of this Master's course by His Holiness in Thegra Stadium in Delhi, December 9, and the early morning before the launch, we had the honor of having audience with His Holiness, and there also he very clearly mentioned that finally this is what is required. This knowledge, piece of knowledge, this legacy of the Nalanda University, this knowledge, it is what can potentially help the world, and this is one of the greatest treasures of the world, to make the world a better place for us to live. So with that in mind, I'm very happy that there are so many, with His Holiness the Dalai Lama's blessings, and all these great teachers, say many teachers over the say hundreds of years, many hundreds of years since starting from Nalanda, the first century AD Nalanda, and before that from the advent of the Buddha Shakyamuni on the earth. So from there were just all this lineage of the masters involved in making what we are doing today possible. And through this, we expect to light this lamp, the lamp of the wisdom and lamp of compassion towards within yourself, within your family, and wherever you go in this world. So this is what we expect to do. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama makes it very clear that that these centers, like Tibet House, all these centers, they must work on, say, contributing to the academic the scenario of the world, which was once so alive in the then Nalanda University. And whether or not one then implements that with new life, that is the individual person's the wish. Otherwise, as an academic legacy, as an academic treasure, this should not die. This is an incredibly great treasure. The pride, in fact, the pride of India, one of the prides of India, and of course one of the prides of the world. So with that in mind, what we're doing is a great service to the humanity at large. And with that in mind, we will, I hope this book is distributed. This book, no?
This one is
Okay. Okay. So this one is distributed. What we do is that we do a proper setting of the motivation, while this whole the design of the master's course, it is to enrich the academic, the pursuit, and to keep alive this incredibly great treasure of India, Nalanda, and the world. The purpose for making this alive, keeping this alive, we should not forget. The purpose is to finally make yourself a happy person, make your family happier, and make as much contribution of happiness to the world as possible. So with that in mind, because there's a specific purpose there, purpose of value, purpose of concern, purpose of compassion for others, the setting of problem motivation makes a whole difference. So with that in mind, let's turn to page 1 of this, the book, the prayer book. Okay. Let us invoke, while it is an academic endeavor, let us seek the blessings, let us seek the wisdom from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, from all the great enlightened beings. The whole purpose of which is to make the world a happy world and make our own life more meaningful. And also, let us not forget to bring in your two parents and all the family members, including your children, and all sentient beings, leaving none aside. Everyone who wishes for happiness and who shuns miseries, let us all include them along with us here, and let them also have this share of being a part of this master's course in Nalanda, the Buddhist studies. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 1 and imagine that you are leading this and everyone is joining you, so happily joining you, and all the enlightened beings, they are so happy to see what you're doing today. And this is such a great auspicious beginning. And keep in mind that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is conducting Shri Kalachakra empowerment in the very holy land of the Buddha, Bodh Gaya. So the time-wise, it coincides with that auspicious program happening there. We are doing our share here for the good of the humanity, for the good of all sentient beings. And you are leading this, and everyone is joining you so happily. Okay, let's say this together. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of omniscience, the subduers set forth their varieties from all aspects. Okay, next page. I see that many of you already know how to recite this mantra in tune. The meaning of mantra
as auspicious indication. Today, according to the Tibetan calendar, today is very auspicious day. It is referred to as Sampo Jinsum, gathering of the 10 virtues and the 10 nobilities. It's a very auspicious day, and we are very happy that it coincides with that, and also that we are reciting this mantra. This mantra is same the content matter wise, subject matter wise, it is heavily loaded with academic insights, and in terms of the soteriological purpose, we see that there is a great meaning that you just apply this to a way of thinking, and simply it makes our mind much more soothing, much more at calm, peace, and meaningful. Okay, first let us read the meaning of the mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, so from this, just to give us the gist of what is said in the mantra, all phenomena arise from causes, meaning that all phenomena, whether happiness, miseries, whatever, they should necessarily come into being by dependence on their respective causes. And if you don't like the miseries, if you don't like the pains, the fears, the miseries, and so forth, then the causes, first of all, identify the causes of these miseries, and then eradicate these causes to bring an end to these miseries. And how to bring an end to these causes? The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. How to bring an end to these causes of the miseries is also indicated by the Tathagata, or the great seer, referring to the Buddha. Okay, this is what we're going to read here. Let us say this 3 times together. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum deshan tathagato yavatat Esham chayo nirodham eva bhati mahashramanaye swaham. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum teshan tathagato yavatat Esham chayo nirodham Eva Mati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, let us turn to page 5. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Now, as we read this is praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, but this is not meant to eulogize the Buddha so that he will be so happy, then he grants us blessings and so forth. That's not the intention. Intention is to praise the Shakyamuni Buddha, and meanwhile see what are the qualities on the basis of which this Prince Siddhartha was praised for. On the basis of what he was praised. So these qualities, just see if you have these qualities within you. If you have part of it, or whatever degree you might have, rejoice, And then see that you increase these qualities, you nurture these qualities further, so that when you become a happier person. And then if it is the case that you don't have these qualities, never mind. Now you have identified these are the qualities which make you be free from miseries, which make your life easier, which make your life much more meaningful. So, knowing this, then be inspired to acquire these qualities yourself. They say 5%, 10%, 20% like this. Just see what you have not acquired, just if you can cultivate those qualities within you. If you already have to some degree, then see how to nurture them further. So this is one purpose. Okay, let's read together. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, are prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate, with pure bodies, form purely, supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best lot, to you I prostrate. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Trustful like you, the 3 worlds are not. Incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the 4 lower realms, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime humanity intending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay. Today, as auspicious sign, what we'll do is we turn to page 9, we'll recite Heart Sutra. Okay, this is extremely important, because what we're doing is not just, in gathering for trivial purpose. This is an extremely important gathering, extremely important the event. I remember when we were in my monastery in Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, Singilupta, in Dharamsala, the teacher, incredibly great teacher, Venerable Geshe Lobsang Gyatso Rinpoche, when we were upgraded from the first basic class to the more formal class. So there, what he did was that he organized, although on a small scale, he organized a feast, a small feast, with some good tea and snacks and so forth. And then he addressed the new students, said that in this world, people celebrate. Say, for any reasons, if you get a new job, again, people celebrate. Your birthday, people celebrate. So wedding, people celebrate. And for this, for that, people celebrate. But if you think very carefully, most of these celebrations, they are like celebrating the opening of a new chapter of miseries. Whereas what we're doing here, this is the opening of the chapter of enlightenment, opening chapter of wisdom, opening chapter of compassion. This is so precious. So therefore, this event is what really deserves to be celebrated. So this is what I could very clearly remember from my teacher, the late Venerable Geshe Lobsang Gyatso Rinpoche. This is what I could remember then. So now, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, whenever he gives teachings, public teachings, usually according to the Tibetan tradition. According to Tibetan tradition, for say public teachings, large gatherings, for something very important, the virtuous gatherings, the tendency that is that the obstacles are bound to be there. Obstacles are bound to be there, and then there are some religious rituals by which to avert the obstacles. I remember when I was much younger, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, during one of the public gatherings, His Holiness, I remember very clearly made the public statement, that usually there are some other rituals and prayers to dispel the obstacles, but I prefer to do the recitation of the Heart Sutra 3 times. He said that if any ritual has a capacity, has a power to dispel the obstacles, the Heart Sutra should have. This is so powerful, and this is really what can avert, what can eliminate and dispel the negative forces. So what we're doing here, this is so auspicious, not only auspicious, so virtuous and so meritorious. There's always a tendency that when you do something so virtuous, the tendency that obstacles can creep in. And particularly what we're doing today here, of course, with the blessings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and with the support of all great teachers who so kindly accepted to take part, to be the teachers here for this program, Master's program, with all the blessings and with the moral support, with the incredibly great support and the help of Dibeshi here, Mr. Dibeshi, and all our friends of Tibet House, Tibet of Staff, and the people who participated in this program. This is a great commitment. So with this, if you think very seriously, what we're doing today is in fact a very noble thing, yet the first time in the history of humanity. First time in the history of humanity, yet an incredibly noble task. Because what we're doing is such an ambitious task. This is what the monastic universities, the people with tremendous merit, background of the merit, tremendous merit, and engaged into this in monastic life, and then dedicate whole their life on these study, reflection, and meditation for like at least 15, 20, 30 years. This is how much they dedicate. And the subject matters for which they are dedicating their whole life is not just praying, no, not just chanting, no. It's a very profound philosophical discussion, profound discussion on psychology, a profound, rigorous training in logic, psychology, philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology. So they go into the treasures of the human, the knowledge. So this is what we are attempting to do, and for sure. And how are we going to do? It's not like how the monastic members they do. Monastic members, they spend at least 10, 12 hours a day, at least, so rigorously, very systematically. They spend all these years and years for what they're doing. And yet in our case, because of the lay people being intensely involved with the day-to-day living, household chores and so forth, and yet, first time in the history of humanity that what the monastic universities, they offer to the monastic members, all these sophisticated studies, for the first time, the lay people, they are also getting this opportunity to learn the same thing. So this is, if you look in the history of humanity, it's the first time. Similar to what we're doing, has been initiated by some centers. Very good. But in terms of subject matter, it's so comprehensive. We have been, if not too ambitious, we have been really very ambitious to make sure that whatever the monastic members in the big monastic universities, when they study these the legacies left by the great Nalanda masters, we try to offer the same in, say, the totality of what is being studied by the monastic members to even to the lay audience. And that too, how they spent at least 10 rigorous hours systematic, and they took for 14, 20 years, and we maybe like 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week. That too may not be so rigorous, and that too within 4 years, not 20 years or 50 years. So we are being so ambitious, yet it requires a tremendous commitment of all of us. Along with the commitment, obstacles are bound to be there, and obstacles can be of different kinds. Obstacles can be different kinds. So, for example, okay, you're coming to the class, and then say your car may not be working, or there may be some problem with your neighbor. Like this, obstacles can happen. Then another obstacle can be, say, you can become sick. You cannot come to the class. Number 2. And the worst of the obstacle is if your mind changes. If you give up. Okay, it's too much. I cannot cope up. This is the worst of the obstacles. With these obstacles, you cannot go to hospital. With this obstacle, you cannot ask the help of your friend. Oh, please, this obstacle happened, please help, remove this help. No. Nobody can help you. So obstacles are bound to happen. And to avoid obstacles, to dispel obstacles, reciting Heart Sutra is very auspicious. Because then, with constraint of time for us in the other times, as auspicious beginning today, we will read the Heart Sutra. Other times, depending on the available time, we may read the Heart Sutra, or we may simply recite the Heart Sutra mantra. Okay, so today is auspicious beginning. We read the Heart Sutra. As we read the Heart Sutra, keep in mind 3 points. 2 points. This is basically the Buddhist Shakyamuni presiding over the congregation. Then this is a dialogue between Araviteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, and the Arahat Shariputra, the dialogue between them. And in what way, why this Heart Sutra is so important for us is only if we keep in mind the 3 points. If you know the 3 points, then you will see this Heart Sutra is so precious for your own well-being. I may go to the extent of saying that with this meaning of the Heart Sutra well reflected, well resonated in your mind, you will see that you learn how best to make yourself happy. You will learn how best to make your family members happy. You will learn how best to eradicate all your fears of life. This is so precious. With this mind, if you are a Hindu, remain a good Hindu. With this mind, with this knowledge, benefit. If you are a Christian, remain a good Christian. The point is that we should be a happy person. Then a happy Christian, happy Hindu, happy Muslim, happy Buddhist, happy non, happy atheist. Just remain whoever you are, but be a happy person. This is the idea. So what we're doing here is just for that purpose. With that in mind, let's recite the Heart Sutra. And for this, again, don't forget the 3 points. Point 1 is, what was the question asked by Shariputra as he stood up in prostration to the Buddha Shakyamuni, who in turn inspired Shariputra to ask a question to Araviteshvara. So the question asked is that the lineage of the Chandra lineage, meaning say the lineage of the kings. Young prince is considered, young boy who is in the lineage of the kings is considered so important, because eventually this boy is going to become anyone who is fully awakened, that one's mind is perfectly purified, cleansed, the fear is gone, unhappiness all gone, filled with happiness, compassion, and wisdom. So that person is known as the fully awakened one or the fully enlightened one. Okay. So the child is the lineage, meaning someone who aspires to become that. Someone who aspires to become that, fully awakened one. That is known as the child of the lineage. So we all who aspire to become a fully awakened person is qualified as a child of the lineage. So the question asked is, how should a child of the lineage practice the professional wisdom? How should one practice it so that all one's miseries is gone, all the fears of life is gone? This is the question asked. Now the second point not to miss is what is the response given by Aravaditishvara? What is the response given by Aravaditishvara as to how to practice this? Someone, each one of us, seeking to achieve perfect happiness. How should one practice this professional wisdom? So he gave the whole lengthy discourse on what is known as how to view everything as true and light. Okay, with this, third point not to miss is what is the benefit if we are able to practice according to the response given by Aravaditishvara by viewing all phenomena like dream. So what is the benefit? So Aravaditishvara responded by saying that Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection wisdom, and mind without obscuration, thus without fear. Meaning that once engaging into this perfection wisdom as instructed, then all your fears dissolve. Fears of life dissolve. And this experience of the dissolution, the freedom from the fears of life, that is like the gateway through which all the past Buddhas, past enlightened beings, the present enlightened beings, and future enlightened beings will traverse. Okay, this is how we should make the sense of reading this Heart Sutra. With that in mind, again, the Buddha is with us, His Holiness the Dharma is with us, and all the enlightened beings. And you are surrounded by all family members, and every sentient being, everyone is with you, and you are in this, and is taking everyone along with you towards ultimate happiness. Okay, let's read this together. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on the mass of Vajra's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Aravaditishvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Aravaditishvara: how should any child of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Aravaditishvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Wisdom should look upon it like this: correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness not other than form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, trading, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unseen, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no as a result is, keep in mind, the whole purpose of what we're doing here in taking the master's course is to find for us, each one of us to become self-sufficient. Each one of us to become self-sufficient, to know how best to give yourself the maximum happiness, how best to make the whole universe a happy realm, and how best to eradicate all our miseries, to make us ourselves self-sufficient. With that in mind, imagine that Buddha Shakyamuni is so affectionate, is so lovingly telling you, personally telling you, don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come out of the mind, come out of his miseries towards ultimate happiness. You want enlightenment. Come. You hearing this melodious voice of the Buddha Shakyamuni. You can inspire your true grandparents, all of your members. Hey, this is what our high teacher Buddha Shakyamuni is telling us. Let us not stay samsara anymore. Let us all go towards ultimate happiness. Let us all go towards that ultimate happiness, leaving behind the suffering altogether. So with that in mind, and this journey to go extremely grateful to you if whatever feedback that you might have, whatever suggestion that you might have for improvise on already the existent, the programs, the existent the facilities that we have created, we will be very happy. The start of Tibet House, we are very fortunate. One, the blessings of the Holiness, and number two, the Indian government. So all why this is happening, with such a great success, that we, whose blessings and whose knowledge imparted on us, that finally with this program has come into being. For example, my teacher, the Venerable Geshe Bandha Rinpoche, the moment I mentioned this to him through WhatsApp, he was so happy. The amount of the joy that he expresses just incomparable. You can't really express it, the joy that he felt. He said that now Tibet House is doing so good. Just keep up. He is so happy. So this is what we have been anticipating for the last many years, and now this is happening. This is what he said. He was so happy. He's already 84 years old, and he's so happy. So we are all like the students of him now. We are all. So all what I'm trying to share with you is all coming from him and my great teachers. So that way, he is so happy. From that, for sure, we are going to be blessed that all the obstacles, should be any obstacles, will be cleared because of these blessings. Then on top of that, saying that one thing which is so unique of this program, usually the problem is that these simple teachings can be done directly in English, generally speaking, simple teachings. And so because people in Tibet House, they are spoiled. People in Tibet House, they are spoiled. You should go out a little bit, go to Dharamsala, go to this place, that place. Then to receive even a small 5 minutes teaching, you have to go through a translator. And through the translator, you miss so many things, right? So whereas now this program is directly will be taught into English, and I'm very fortunate there are a number of teachers who kindly accepted our request to be a part of this program. For example, like one of my incredibly very affectionate teacher, Geshe Bandha, he kindly accepted to teach the second program, the second lesson, which is the 7-point mind training. He kindly accepted that. And particularly when I made the personal request to him, he said that if this teaching is going to be academic plus practice, only then he will be interested to teach. And I said, yes, this is just for that purpose. And he really accepted. He's so happy to do so. So that way we see that all the teachers, they are going to teach the lessons directly in English. This is a great benefit, that whatever is going to be imparted, the students will get everything. So this is the one thing. Meanwhile, as I said earlier, there are bound to be limitations here and there. So one, we should be patient. Number two, just give us your feedback as to what changes, what the improvement can be brought to this and so forth. Number three, I remember when I was in school, particularly class 9, 10, some of the students who dislike mathematics, they would say that, so particularly they would provoke the students who are doing good in mathematics, saying that, what is all this mathematics, x, y, what is all this? When you go to the shop, nobody will ask you what is x, what is y. You get what I'm saying, right? They are being very sarcastic. What they are learning, there's no use. What is x, what is y, right? And in the school, you just like x squared, x divided by y, all these things are there. We study all these things years on end. Likewise, in the pursuit of the study is at times, so people who are here, people who are attending the regular classes, for you it's more easy, even if you find it sometimes it's a little tangled or sometimes a little dry, you can easily ask. So, okay, seems to be unrelated to what I practice, it's a little dry, But then those people who are attending this program through online, then they may find it a little more, say, problematic. So what I'm saying here is that at times, it could be because the kind of exposure that we're going to get is something very profound, very profound. At times we may not be able to relate what we are learning with that due to the practice. So that way it may turn a little dry, it may turn a little dry intellectual inquiry. What I would suggest is that under such situation, if you do feel, so what do you do? If you really feel that this is now too much, don't hesitate to write to me directly. Don't hesitate to write to me directly. At times we also need a little bit of, say respite for any reasons, because the kind of the training that what we're studying is something so huge, a task, a gigantic task, and the means with which we are doing it is very small. So therefore, at times we may feel it really overwhelming. But I would say that if at times you feel like this, keep in mind what I said earlier, obstacles, 3 or 4 obstacles, the worst of which is that I should give up. This is the worst of the obstacles. Keep in mind now the worst obstacle is coming to grab at me. I will not give up, right? Okay. And then should you really feel that there's, like little tiredness, whatever, don't feel hesitant to write to me. I'll be so happy to communicate with each one of you, and then can even converse personally about, how to go ahead and what next to do, what to be done, and so forth. Okay, so these are the few things that I'd like to share with you as a part of the intro to this, the master's course. Okay, now the whole purpose of this master's course, to put it in a gist form, is what the Buddha said, that you are the master of yourself, and who else is there as your master? The one who tames his or her mind is the approach of the noble beings. This is what the Buddha said. You are the master of yourself. Who else is there as your master? The one who tames his or her mind is the approach of the noble beings. This is what the Buddha said. So with this in mind, finally, whether you skip studies or whether you embrace studies, whether you skip business, whether you embrace business, or whether you go into universities, whether you go into politics, whatever, we are doing that for the benefit of oneself. Finally, this is for one's own happiness, right? And then some people may think of, happiness for the community. Some people think about happiness of my family. And some people may think, my own happiness. It doesn't matter. Whatever happiness that we are seeking, this is your birthright. We have the right to this. We have the right to this. The next question is, how do you acquire that? How do you acquire that? So for this, the Buddha Shakyamuni in Dharmapada so beautifully put it as, even though you have a brilliant eyes, if you don't have the light, these eyes will be of no use. Only with the light of the knowledge, the eyes of your intelligence will become functional, right? So therefore, this knowledge, what we are learning, this is so precious. Finally, from there, see how we can make the most out of this, and then see that your life becomes more and more qualitative. Your life becomes more and more qualitatively happier. That's the whole purpose. So, with this mind, for the Buddhist psychology, the text which we are studying is the Buddhist psychology. For this, I like to introduce to you what is known as the Buddha nature, or the seed of perfection, potential of perfection. This is what I need to introduce to you here. The seed of perfection, of seat of perfection or the say, Buddha nature. This is very important. And then you will see the importance of this psychology, the study of the psychology, how it becomes very important in our own life. Say, if we think of our own life, we see that we're at times happy, we're at times unhappy. This is reality. At times we feel very unsatisfied and lonely, painful, and sometimes happy, and so forth. So these are all the mental experience. And the same mind has the capacity to do things which we consider as, oh, this is what the saint, this is what this saint did, what that saint did, and so forth, the miracles and so forth. The same mind, the very basic mind that we have, this mind has that capacity to perform anything which is like miracles. This mind has that capacity. So one to share with you what we can understand is this mind has the capacity to give rise to the happiness. Not only happiness, the maximum happiness. 24/7 happiness. Not only 24/7 happiness, the most intense happiness. This mind has that capacity. That capacity. And of course, it also has the capacity to create the miseries. Okay. Say a water. Say a dirty water. You take out the dirty water from any sewage, take a dirty water, and nobody wants to drink it. Why? It is dirty. But the same water can be treated. And with the chemical atom or with the reverse osmosis technique, whatever, same water can be treated, and the dirt will all be settled. Dirts are settled, and the water becomes so pure, water becomes so clean, and the dirts are separated. You want to drink the water? Yes. All the water that we get from the shops, mineral water, bottled water, they're all the treated water, right? Now, on the other hand, imagine black charcoal, right? I ask you to make it white inside out. At the most, what you can do, you can remove the black parts. Remove the black parts. What happens? The charcoal will disappear. The very basic object, the charcoal, it simply disappears. Instead of becoming white, it disappears. Whereas with the dirty water, however dirty the water is, by removing the dirt, instead of the water disappearing, water becomes so clean, so pure, right? The next question. Why this water, when the dirts are removed, why the water does not disappear, instead the water becomes so clean? On the contrary, the black charcoal, when the black part is removed, why the black charcoal, instead of becoming white, the black charcoal itself disappears? Why? What's the difference? This is a question. This is extremely important question. With this, you'll come to discover who you are. We will come to discover who we are. And then we'll come to know that I'm not to be undermined. I have the capacity, I have the potential to be enlightened as anyone else. So you will become confident with one's own potential. Okay, what is the difference between these two? On one hand, the dirty water, on the other hand, the black charcoal. And the dirty water, when you remove the dirt, instead of the water disappearing, water becomes so clean. Whereas the black charcoal, instead of the charcoal becoming white, the charcoal disappears. So what's the difference? So of course, most of you have the answer. Whether or not you can articulate it well, you all have the answers. With the dirty water, the true nature of the water is not dirty. Whereas with the black charcoal, the intrinsic nature of the charcoal is black. Right? So when you remove the dirt, you are not removing dirt from the water, you are not removing the true nature of the water. what you're doing, you are removing the adventitious nature. You are removing the adventitious nature of the water, the temporary nature of the water. When you remove the dirt, then the true nature of the water becomes manifest. When you remove the dirt, when you remove the adventitious nature, the dirt, then the true nature of the water becomes manifest. What is the true nature? The perfect purity that comes out. Whereas the black charcoal, the true nature of the black charcoal is black. So when you remove the black part, then you are removing the true nature. When the true nature is removed, then the object disappears. Our mind, the good news, is that however dirty our mind is, it is not like a black charcoal. It is like a dirty water. The true nature of mind is not dirty. If you don't believe in it, right? Say, even if somebody is so cruel, so rude, so harsh on others, right? That person, if somebody is really able to give a genuine love and affection to that person will surrender. Right? That person is transformed overnight. And say, this person who's so harsh, so cruel, particularly when the child is very young, at age like 2, 3, 4, heavily dependent on one's parents, that child is, generally speaking, not harsh on the mother, is so affectionate towards the mother. Slowly, the environment and the imprints inside, they all work together and make the person very harsh eventually. This is possible. But the true nature of the person is not harsh, right? It's not harsh. And while we think about the other people, we also think about on yourself as well. On yourself. Say, we all have some degree of ego. We all have some degree of, say the anger, jealousy, and so forth. Even these, by working on how to eradicate these, by resorting to the respective remedies, we see that even these earlier defects that we have in our thinking can be cleansed eventually. So from this, we see that the true nature of mind is so pure, The analogy, another beautiful analogy which I'm so fond of, is the one given by Aranagarjuna. Aranagarjuna, he gave the analogy of, say first let me say the one given by Arimathea. So there, Arimathea gave the analogy of a beggar under a very simple hut, a licking simple hut, and then the beggar so poor, hardly anything to eat a day, and yet underneath his floor, the simple hut, the floor of the simple hut, there's a big, huge treasure there, a treasure. So now, as long as the beggar cannot discover the treasure, the beggar is beggar. The moment the beggar discovers the treasure, he is no more beggar. Perhaps he can be the richest person in the country or in the nation, right? Likewise, we all have this incredible treasure of the perfection within us, like this true nature of the water, which is so clean. You don't bring this purity of the water from elsewhere. Just remove the dirt and the purity is also inside there. Likewise, we remove the metal dirts and then the purity comes out. Right? Purity comes out. When the dirts are no more there, then the purity becomes perfectly pure. That perfect purity is known as the full enlightenment. At that point, you become like a sun. Not only that, the darkness within you is eliminated, you're able to eliminate the darkness of every atom of the universe. Right? Okay, so this is the Buddha nature. The next question is, because of this Buddha nature has nothing to do with external, it is my own mind, mental state, mind. For this mind, now look, I'm going to go into little technicality here, So this mind, when you say mind, this mind always interacts with the object. This mind always interacts with the object. So for example, as a young child from the school, not seeing the mother for the past 2 weeks, then sees the mother for the first time after 2 weeks, the child is elated with joy, right? Why? So this elation is a mental experience. This mental experience comes into being by the combination, by his mind coming into contact with the mother's appearance. With the mother as the object and his mind coming into contact, then the incredible happiness comes in the child's mind. Okay, for this the next question is, if this is how the happiness arises in us, if this is how the happiness arises in us, or the miseries arise in us, the next question is that what would be the situation like to experience the maximum happiness? The maximum happiness. For the maximum happiness, we have to remove the mental dirts, the maximum. To experience the maximum happiness, we have to remove the mental dirts, the maximum. So how can you see you extract the gold ore, you extract gold from the gold mine. From the gold mine, you get the gold ore. What is gold ore? Gold ore is nothing but just soil. And in the eyes of the experts, this is so precious. This is not ordinary soil. This is so precious. This is gold. But in the eyes of the ordinary people like us, it's just a soil. We will throw this. But how do we know that there's gold here? Separate the dirt, separate the soil from the gold. The more we are successful in separating the soil from the gold, the more the gold will shine, the more it will glow. Right? The more it will glow. So now, when will this gold glow the maximum? When will this glow the maximum? Anyone? When will it glow the maximum? Yes. No, what I'm saying is soil and the gold. The soil and the gold, these two are mixed. When these two are mixed, the gold inside does not glow. When will the gold start to glow? When will it start to glow? Exactly. When the dirts are removed. When will the glow? When will the glow be maximum? When the dirts are removed, the maximum. Right? Okay. Likewise, when our metal dirts are removed the maximum, then the purity becomes the final. Purity becomes the final. Right? Okay. The next question. How to remove these metal dirts? The maximum. How to remove the metal dirts the maximum? For this, we need to know what is known as the mind. The mind. Okay, to give you a very simple example. Say the mind, your mind say you are a young child. You are a young child. When you become age 16 and above, then the complications arise. Right? Okay. Age 3, 4 is very beautiful. When we age 3, 4, then we meet with your mother, you are elated with joy. Right? Right? And then say you are age 3, 4, you meet with your mother, one scenario. The next scenario, you meet with your neighbor who is so cruel and harsh on you. Right? So what would be your response? Response is very different. Yes, no? Subject wise, your mind is the subject. Your mind subject is the same, but the object is different. Object is different. Right? So with the difference in object, the same subject will respond differently. Same subject will respond differently. Now, say, with the object, the subject will behave differently. The same subject will behave differently. Now, on the other hand, let's say the same object under different situation, the same subject will act differently. Under the same object, say your mother, you as a young child, age 3 or 4, and your mother, when your mother is waking you up to prepare you to go to school, when your mother coming with the birthday gifts or Christmas gift, 2, it's the same mother, but your mind is the same subject, but under 2 different situations, the mind responds differently. Right? Okay, so your happiness, the happiness that we experience, the miseries that we experience, it depends on the object as well as the subject. You're getting it? It depends on object as well as the subject. Now, how to eradicate these miseries, the metal dirts the most, is by making the object the subtlest, making the subject the subtlest. Right? by making the object and the subtlest, object and the subject, the subtlest, most refined, then the subtlest of the dirt is removed, right? And how to remove all these things, we have to study for the next 4 years. All right? Okay, so to eradicate the metal dirts fully, you have to eradicate the subtlest of the metal dirts. And the subtlest of metal dirts involves the object and the subject. And if you can introduce the subtlest of the object and the subtlest of the subject, of course, this is a little technical at the moment. Day one, I'm saying all these things deliberately. Right? Later on, it's going to be much easier for you. So, by doing so, what happens is that by seeing the subtlest of the subject and the subtlest of the object combined together, then the subtlest of the metal dirts are eradicated. You getting it? So that way, the purity, like the gold shining the most, when the dirts are removed fully, likewise, the purity within you will be illuminated fully and you will become enlightened. Okay, now, before I stop, I'd like to quickly share this. To know the subtlest of the object, technically it is known as the study of ontology. Study of ontology. O-N-T-O-L-O-G-Y. Study of ontology. Study of the what constitutes the objective reality. What constitutes the objective reality? Study of ontology.
Is there a Tibetan word for it, Vishnu? Study of ontology?
You can never, yeah. Y-U-L G-H-I-N-A-Y-L-U-G. Okay. So one is the study of ontology. Okay, study of ontology. And the other is the study of the subject, study of object and study of subject. For the study of the object, ontology, whole philosophy is taught. Whole philosophy. The concept of philosophy and physics and chemistry, they all arise on the basis of the study of the ontology. What constitutes the objective reality? What constitutes the objective reality? To study the object, then the whole philosophy, for example, the philosophy which you're going to study for the next 4 years, they all came into being to explore what is the objective reality. We have to know the subtlest of the objective reality. So for that purpose, the study of philosophy came into being. So as a part of the master's course, we have the philosophy as one of the most important subject, particularly the philosophy of emptiness and philosophy of dependent origination. Now we also have to know the subject. We have to make sure that the subject, it is, you train in such a way that the subtlest of the subjective experience is invoked. So for this, we have to know the subject. To study the subject, the psychology comes into being. The study of psychology comes into being. Psychology and epistemology. Now, epistemology, psychology, and then say, with the modern studies, with the neuroscience, we have cognitive science. Neuroscience, cognitive science, Western psychology, all these things come under this umbrella to know what this subject is, to know the subjective reality, right? So the study of Buddhist psychology comes into being in order to know, in order to explore what this mind is like, what this subject is like. The subject, the mind that we're experiencing, which is responsible for happiness, right? Which assumes, which has the final purity, which has the intrinsic nature as the final purity, what that is like. So to explore that, we have to study the Buddhist psychology. Now, to study this philosophy and psychology so rigorously, to acquire rigor in the study of the philosophy and psychology, because these are very complicated topics, we have to have the rigor. Without the rigor, you will not explore what is the real, you will not enjoy what is the real philosophy and what is real psychology. So we need to have the rigor. So to acquire the rigor, in this study, the master's course, we have the study of logic. Study of logic is there. Study of logic. So what mathematics is for? What mathematics is for physics? What mathematics is for the rigor of physics? The logic is to maintain the rigor of the philosophy and psychology. So therefore the logic becomes an inalienable subject introduced in the Mahayana, the Buddhist tradition, particularly in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which has inherited from the erstwhile Nalanda University. So Nalanda University of Buddhism, it traveled to China. It traveled to China in 1st century, 2nd century, 3rd century AD. Then it traveled to Tibet in particularly very rigorously in 8th century AD. 8th century AD. So difference between these two things was that Tibet, not because of the greatness of the Tibetans, but the greatness of the great Indian master, Bodhisattva Shantarakshita. Bodhisattva Shantarakshita, you must know his name. Okay. Bodhisattva Shantarakshita, 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 Bodhisattva Shantarakshita. He played a very important role. In fact, he was to be credited for the success of the Tibetans being able to maintain the rigor of the Nalanda Buddhism still in the Tibetan tradition. So in Chinese tradition, logic was not as much emphasized in Chinese Buddhism. When Buddhism from Nalanda went to China, logic was not introduced to the extent it was introduced in Tibet. In Tibet, it was mainly introduced by Bodhisattva Shantarakshita. It is for this reason that today you go to the Tibetan monastic universities, like my great teacher, for example, so now the great embodiment, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's name, who can really replicate the real thoughts of Nagarjuna 2,300 years ago, when Nagarjuna appeared on this earth. What he came up with, the philosophy which he crystallized in the teachings of Buddha Madhyamika, now it can be fully replicated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama's insights, and like my great teachers like Venerable Geshe Paramattha Buddha, Geshe Shikhar Buddha, they could really replicate this incredibly sophisticated philosophy even today, all because of the introduction of this logic in Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, so with this little intro to the Buddhist psychology, we'll stop here for today. Okay, real quickly, those of you who may be a little busy or you are in a hurry, you can leave. Others can do the end derivation prayer. Okay, we will do the end derivation prayer. Let's start page 65 of this prayer book. Page 65. From my two collections, vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, by in your loving compassion for all life's magistry, may I find the best of the complete created path of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I've discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever directions the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May with wishful liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's teachings be nourished for a long time. By even this greater path enlightened and completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings, for practicing excellent paths, never be separated in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones in the oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness, good, all powerful of Leviteshvara, Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is arrested, arise and grow, and may that which is arrested not diminish but increase forevermore. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization, the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May all lives, through the force of this marriage, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect beyond the two stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I chant a mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues for all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. The path of union of emptiness compassion is loosely explained by the protection of the Dhamma and the beings of the snowland. With the lotus of the Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who have by managed to perverted praise against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by an tree and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of independent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Okay, good night.